All glory to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glory to Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila Chapter 19. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. A summary of this chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasma. Meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a village called Ramakeli, two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, began to devise a means to get out of their government service. They appointed some brahmanas to perform Purascharana ceremonies and chant the holy name of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami deposited 10,000 gold coins with the grocer, and the balance he brought in two boats to a place called Bakla Chandradvip. There he divided this money among the brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and his relatives, and the portion he kept for emergency measures and personal needs. He was informed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri through the forest of Jharkhand. Therefore, he sent two people to Jagannath Puri to find out when the Lord would leave for Vrindavan. In this way, Rupa Goswami retired, but Sanatan Goswami told the Nawib that he was sick and could not attend his work. Giving this excuse, he sat at home and studied Srimad Bhagavatam with learned Brahmana scholars. The Nawab Hussain Shah first sent his personal physician to see what the real facts were. Then he personally came to see why Sanatan was not attending to official business. Knowing that he wanted to resign his post, the Nawab had him arrested and imprisoned. The Nawab then went off to attack Orissa. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started for Vrindavan through the forest of Jharkhand, Rupa Goswami left home and sent news to Sanatan that he was leaving with his younger brother, Anupama Malik, to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Rupa Goswami finally reached Prayag and met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 successive days. During this time, Vallabha Bhatta extended an invitation to the Lord with great respect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced Srila Rupa Goswami to Vallabha Bhatta. After this, a Brahmana scholar named Raghupati Upadhyaya arrived and discussed Krishna consciousness with the Lord. Kaviraj Goswami then extensively described the living condition of Sri Rupa and Sanatan at Vrindavan. During the 10 days at Prayag, Srila Rupa Goswami was instructed by the Lord, who gave him the basic principles of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Lord then sent Srila Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan. The Lord himself returned to Varanasi and stayed at the home of Chandrasekhar. Text 1. Vrindavaniyam rasa keli vartam kalena luptam nija shaktim utka sancharya rupe vyatanot punasha prabhur vidhau prag iva loka sristim. Before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, the Lord enlightened the heart of Lord Brahma with the details of the creation and manifested the Vedic knowledge. In exactly the same way, the Lord, being anxious to receive the Vrindavan pastimes of Lord Krishna, impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Srila Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Two. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra. And all glories to all the devotees of the Lord. 3. Shri Rupa Sanatan Rahe Rama Keli Grame Prabhure Mili Yeghela Apana Bhavane. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the village of Ramakeli, the brothers Rupa and Sanatan returned to their homes. 4. Dulibai Vishaya Cha Gaira Upaya Shujila Bahudhana Diya Dui Brahmane Varila. The two brothers devised a means whereby they could give up their material activities. For this purpose, they appointed two brahmanas and paid them a large amount of money. 5. Krishna Mantre Karaila Bhuvi Purascharana Achirat Pai Bhare Chaitanya Charana. The brahmanas performed religious ceremonies and chanted the holy name of Krishna so that the two brothers might attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very soon. A Purascharana is a ritualistic ceremony performed under the guidance of an expert spiritual master or a brahmana. It is performed for the fulfillment of certain desires. One rises early in the morning, chants the Hare Krishna mantra, performs archana, the arti ceremony, and worships the deities. These activities are described in Madhya Lila, 15th chapter, verse 108. 6. Shri Rupa Goshani Tabe Naukate Bariya Apanhara Gare Aila Bahudana Lana. At this time, Sri Rupa Goswami returned home, taking with him large quantities of riches loaded in boats. 7. Brahmana Vaishnava Dila Tara Ardha Dane Eka Koti Dhana Dila Kutumba Parane. Sri Rupa Goswami divided the wealth that he brought back home. He gave 50% in charity to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and 25% to his relatives. This is a practical example of how one should divide his money and retire from household life. 50% of one's money should be distributed to qualified and pure devotees of the Lord. 25% may be given to family members, and 25% may be kept for personal use in case of emergency. 8. Danda bandha lagi kuti sanchaya karila bala bala viprastane stapya vakila. He kept 1/4 of his wealth with a respectable brahmana. He kept this for his personal safety because he was expecting some legal complications. Text 9. Bodhera kila mudra dasahajare sanatana dhyaya kare rake murigare. He deposited 10,000 coins, which were later spent by Sri Sanatana Goswami in the custody of a local Bengali grocer. Text 10. Shri Rupa Sunila Prabhuda Niladri Gamana Annapate Yabhena Prabhu Sri Vrindavan. Shri Rupa Goswami heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned to Jagannath Puri and is preparing to go to Vrindavan through the forest. 11. Rupa Goshani Nila Chali Pataila Dvijana Prabhu Yabe Vrindavan Karina Gamana. Sri Rupa Goswami sent 2 people to Jagannath Puri to find out when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would depart for Vrindavan. 12. Sigra asi more tanra diva samachara suniyathar anurupa kariba vyabhara. Sri Rupa Goswami told the 2 men, You are to return quickly and let me know when he will depart. Then I shall make the proper arrangements. 13. Etasana thana goshani bhave mane mana raja more priti kare se mora bandana. While Sanatana Goswami was in Gauda Desh, he was thinking, the Nawab is very pleased with me. I certainly have an obligation. 14. Honamate Rajayadi Mune Krudha Hoya Tabe Avyahati Haya Karilu Nischaya. If the Nawab somehow or other becomes angry with me, I shall be greatly relieved. That is my conclusion. 15. Asvastyera Chadmakari Rahe Nijagare Rajakarya Chadila Nayaya Rajagare. On the pretext of bad health, Sanatana Goswami remained home. Thus he gave up government service and did not go to the royal court. 16. Lobikaya Stagana Rajakarya Kare Apane Svagre Kare Shastrera Vichare. The greedy masters of his clerical and secretarial staff performed the government duties while Sanatan personally remained home and discussed the revealed scriptures. Sanatana Goswami was the minister in charge of the government secretariat, and his assistants, the undersecretaries and clerks, all belonged to the Kayasta community. Formerly, the Kayastas belonged to the clerical and secretarial staff of the government, and later, if one served such a post, he was called a Kayasta. Eventually, if a person could not identify himself as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, he used to introduce himself as a Kayasta to get a wealthy and honorable position. In Bengal, it is said that if one cannot give the identity of his caste, he calls himself Kayasta. On the whole, the Kayasta community is a mixture of all castes, and it especially includes those engaged in clerical or secretarial work. Materially, such people are always busy occupying responsible government posts. When Sanatana Goswami was relaxing and feeling inclined to retire from government service, many Kayastas on his secretarial staff were very eager to occupy his post. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that when Sanatana Goswami was a government minister, the Kayastas who assisted him saw that he was reluctant to continue. They became very expert in their duties. Sanatana Goswami was a Brahmana belonging to the Sarasvata Brahmana community. It is said that when he resigned, a subordinate named Purandara Khan, who was a Kayasta, occupied his post. 17. Bhattacharya Pandit Pisha Trishalana Bhagavat Vichara Karina Sabhate Vasya. Sri Sanatana Goswami used to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam in an assembly of 20 or 30 learned Brahmana scholars. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following commentary on the words Bhagavat Vichara, as confirmed in the Mundaka Upanishad 1.1.4 through 5. There are two kinds of educational systems. Dve vidya vidit bhaya iti sasma yad brahma vidho vadanti para chaiva para cha tatra para rigvedo yajur veda samavedo tarva veda sikshakalpo vyakaramnam niruktam chando dostitsam iti atapara yayatad aksharam adhigamayate. There are two kinds of educational systems. One deals with transcendental knowledge, Paravidya, and other with material knowledge, Aparavidya. All the Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda, along with their corollaries known as Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakarna, Nirukta, Chanda, and Jyotista, belong to the inferior system of material knowledge, Aparavidya. By Paravidya, one can understand the Akshara, Brahman, or the Absolute Truth. As far as the Vedic literature is concerned, the Vedanta Sutra is accepted as the Paravidya. Srimad Bhagavatam is an explanation of that Paravidya. Those who aspire for liberation, mukti, or moksha, and introduce themselves as Vedantika are also equal to those groups aspiring to improve religion, dharma, economic development, artha, and sense gratification, kama. Dharma, artha, kama, and moksha are called chatur varga. They are all within the system of inferior material knowledge. Any literature giving information about the spiritual world, spiritual life, spiritual identity, and the spirit soul is called Paravidya. Srimad Bhagavatam does not have anything to do with the materialistic way of life. It gives transcendental information to educate people and to discuss transcendental superior knowledge. Those who are karmis, jnanis, or yogis are not actually fit to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Only Vaishnavas or pure devotees are fit to discuss that literature, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, 12.13.18. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Malam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Param Hamsyam Ekam Malam Jnanam Param Jiyate Yatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tachunvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. Although Srimad Bhagavatam is counted among the Puranas, it is called the spotless Purana, because it does not discuss anything material. It is likened by transcendental Vaishnava. It is liked by transcendental Vaishnava devotees. The subject matter found in Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for Paramahamsas. As it is said, Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam. A Paramahamsa is one who does not live in the material world and who does not envy others. In Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is discussed to arouse the living entity to the transcendental position of Jnana and Vairagya, renunciation. As the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.12 states, Tach Shraddha Munhayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Sruta Grityaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that the absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. This is not sentiment. Knowledge and renunciation can be obtained through devotional service. Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. That is, by arousing one's dormant devotional consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When Krishna consciousness is aroused, it relieves one from fruitive activity for economic improvement and material enjoyment. This relief is technically called Naiskarmya, and when one is relieved, it is no longer interested in working hard for sense gratification. Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Vyasadeva's last mature contribution, and one should read and hear it in an assembly of realized souls while engaging in devotional service. At such a time, one can be liberated from all material bondage. This was the course taken by Sanatana Goswami, who retired from government service to study Srimad Bhagavatam with learned scholars. (18) Radhina Godeshvara Sange Eka Jana Chambite Goshani Sabhate Kaila Agamana. While Sanatana Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam in the assembly of learned Brahmanas, one day the Nawab of Bengal and another person suddenly appeared. The full name of the Nawab of Bengal, Hussain Shah, was Alauddin Sayyada Hussain Saha Sarifa Makka, and he ruled Bengal for 23 years, from 1420 to 1443 Sakabda era, AD 1498 to 1521. Sanatana Goswami was studying Srimad Bhagavatam with scholars in the year 1424, 1502 AD. 19. Patsaha dekhiya sabe samrame udila samrame asanadiya rajare vashaila. As soon as all the Brahmanas and Sanatana Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. Although Nawab Hussain Shah was a Mlecha Yavana, he was nonetheless the governor of the country, and the learned scholars in Sanatana Goswami offered him all the respect due a king or a governor. When a person occupies an exalted executive post, one should consider that he has acquired the grace of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.41, Lord Krishna says, Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam srimad urjitam evava tattad eva vagachatvam mama tejo misha sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring but from a spark of my splendor. Whenever we see something exalted, we must consider it part of the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A powerful man, vibhutimat sattvam, is one who has obtained the grace of the Lord or has derived some power from him. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.10, Krishna says, Tejas Tejasvinam Maham. I am the power of the powerful. The learned Brahmana scholars showed respect to Nawab Hussain Shah because he represented a fraction of Krishna's power. 20. Raja kahe tomhara stane vaidya patalun vaidya kahe vyadhi nahi susta ye dekilun. The Nawab said, I sent my physician to you, and he has reported that you are not diseased. As far as he could see, you are completely healthy. (21) Amara ye kichu karya sabato malana karya chari rahila tumi garete paisya. I am depending on you to carry out so many of my activities. You have given up your governmental duties to sit here at home. 22. Morayata karya kama sabakaila nasa kitomara hridaye yache kaha mora pasa. You have spoiled all my activities. What is your intention? Please tell me frankly. 23. Sanatana kahena he ame haite kama para ekajana diya kara samadhana. Sanatana Goswami replied, you can no longer expect any service from me. Please arrange for someone else to tend to the management. 24. Tabe krudha hanaraja kahe harabara Tomhara bara bai kare dasyu vyavhara. Translation. Becoming angry with Sanatana Goswami, the Nawab said, your elder brother is acting just like a plunderer. 25. Jiva bahu mari kaila chatva sabanasa Eta tumi kaila mora sarva karya nasa. By killing many living entities, your elder brother has destroyed all Bengal. Now here you are destroying all my plans. 26. Sanatana kahetumi svatantra ghodesvara ye ye dosa kare ehatara pala. Sanatana Goswami said, you are the supreme ruler of Bengal and are completely independent. Whenever someone commits a fault, you punish him accordingly. 27. Etasuni godesvara uti gare gela alaiba bali sanhat nere alaiba bali sanhat ta nere bandila. Hearing this, the Nawab of Bengal stood up and returned to his home. He ordered the arrest of Sanatana Goswami so that he would not be able to leave. It is said that the relationship between the Nawab of Bengal and Sanatana Goswami was very intimate. The Nawab used to consider Sanatana Goswami his younger brother, and when Sanatana Goswami showed a very strong intention to resign, the Nawab, feeling familial affection, essentially said, "I am your elder brother, but I do not look after the state management. My only business is attacking other states with my soldiers and fighting everywhere as a plunderer. Because I am a meat eater, Yavana, I am used to hunting all kinds of living beings. In this way, I am destroying all kinds of living entities in Bengal. While engaged in this destructive business, I am hoping that you will tend to the administration of the state. Since I, your elder brother, am engaged in such a destructive business, you, being my younger brother, should look after the state management. If you do not, how will things continue?" This talk was based on a family relationship, and Sanatana Goswami also replied in an intimate and joking way. Essentially, he told the Nawab, "My dear brother, you are the independent ruler of Bengal. You can act in whatever way you like, and if someone commits a fault, you can punish him accordingly." In other words, Sanatana Goswami was saying that since the Nawab was accustomed to acting like a plunderer, he should go ahead and take action. Since Sanatana was not showing much enthusiasm for performing his duty, the Nawab should dismiss him from his service. The Nawab could understand the intention of Sanatana Goswami's statement. He therefore left in an angry mood and ordered Sanatana Goswami's arrest. 28. Hena kale gela raja udiya mahite sanatane kahe tumi chala mora sate. At this time, the Nawab was going to attack the province of Orissa, and he told Sanatana Goswami, "Come along with me." Purport: Hussain Shah attacked the neighboring province of Orissa in 1424 Sakabda era, AD 1502. At that time, he conquered the feudal princes there. 29. Tenho kahe yabe tumi devataya. Tenho kahe yabe tumi devatya dukha dite. Mora shakti nahi tom mara sange yaite. Sanatana Goswami replied, "You are going to Orissa to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For this reason, I am powerless to go with you." 30. Tabe tandre bandira ki karila gamana etanila chala hoite Prabhu chalila Vrindavan. The Nawab again arrested Sanatana Goswami and kept him in prison. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for Vrindavan from Jagannath Puri. 31. Tabe sei dui kara rupatani aila Vrindavana chalila Prabhu asiya kahila. The two persons who went to Jagannath Puri to inquire about the Lord's departure returned and informed Rupa Goswami that the Lord had already departed for Vrindavan. 32. Suniya Shri Rupali Kila Sanatantani Vrindavan Chalila Shri Chaitanya Goshani. Upon receiving this message from his two messengers, Rupa Goswami immediately wrote a letter to Sanatana Goswami saying that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had departed for Vrindavan. This ends our reading for today. All glories to the assembled devotees ki jai. All glories to the worldwide devotees ki jai. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Satchidananda Bhaktinamala Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Nitai Gaura Haribol. Hare Krishna.